Night Bloom. The single succulent in my little garden was grown from a small branch with 3 leaves from my neighbor Wu's potted succulent plant. It grew rapidly. It had been transplanted 3 times, from a little pot to a big urn, and to a huge wooden planter. And without much notice, it had grown into a 7-foot-tall bush. Its green leaves spread out like an ocean wave. It bloomed, not often, 3, sometimes 5 flowers at a time. A few days ago, many little red buds appeared along edges of the wavy blades. First I thought they might be new leaves. Then they grew into big spindle-shaped flower buds. They kept growing, tiny green threads covering tightly wrought white petals. I counted the spindles. There were 48 of them. I was surprised and called my friends. I was more surprised that they all had succulents that gave profuse blooms. Still, I was excited and walked around in my little courtyard, counting, "A miracle! It will have 48 blooms." Finally, it looked like the gigantic buds would bloom that night. I was excited and waited from morning till dark. The green petals started to spread out first. It was 9:30 at night. My husband and my daughter said that they would not wait, and told me to wake them up when the flowers were in full bloom. I took a flashlight and a folding chair and went to the courtyard. Several stars were blinking through the polluted clouds. There wasn't even a breeze. I paced the courtyard. 10, 11 o'clock. The buds remained closed. Finally I sat down. The comfortable chair and the soft night air soon lured me to sleep. Our living room was full of excitement. The succulent we had had for 2 years had finally yielded 2 blooms, one up and one down. My mother had invited our neighbors to come over to witness the important occasion. Mr. and Mrs. Chong, Auntie Ho, my parents, my sister, all sat around to wait for the 2 flowers to fully open. More neighbors came. I had just come back from night school and was allowed to eat in the living room. I had a big bowl of rice with all kinds of delicacies on top, and I was eating at a corner. The 2 flowers were finally fully open. I listened with excitement to a chorus of praise in the room, full of people appreciating the precious blooms. What a joyous occasion! I woke up and found I was alone in my little courtyard. The 48 buds had given over to full bloom. Their lotus flower-like petals were angels' wings, and like sisters, 3 to one side, 5 to the other, giving out a most exotic fragrance. I rushed inside and tried to wake my husband, to no avail. I knocked on my daughter's door. She didn't answer. I retracted my hand because I remembered that she had an advanced placement algebra test to take the next morning. I returned to the courtyard and turned the flashlight on the blooms. Their heads were close to one another. Their delicate, long, snowy petals were like 48 swan maidens. I turned off the light and sat down beside them, a chorus of blooming succulents in a foreign land. I alone was enjoying them. The desert night air was dry, but my cheeks were wet with moisture.